Captain Elena Torres stared at the mission file like it might change if she waited long enough. Her coffee had gone cold. Her hands were steady, but her mind wasn't. The words on the page were clear. Extraction mission. Remote village. Hostile territory. Standard operation. But Elena had done too many standard operations to believe in routine anymore. Across the hangar, Sergeant Maya Brooks was checking her rifle in silence. Elena watched her for a moment. Same focused eyes. Same short, tight braid under her cap. They'd served together for 6 years. Survived ambushes, lost friends, pulled each other from burning vehicles. Elena didn't trust many people, but she trusted Maya like she trusted her own breath. The helicopter blades began to spin, chopping the air with a low mechanical growl. Elena stood, grabbed her pack, and walked over. "Another quiet day at the office," Maya said without looking up. Elena gave a dry smile. "Let's hope it stays that way." Neither of them believed that. They boarded the chopper along with the rest of the team. 7 soldiers total. 1 medic. 1 communications tech. A tight unit, each one trained, tested, and ready. The sky was a pale gray as they lifted off. Wind beat through the open side doors. 20 clicks in, quick grab, 20 clicks out, the pilot said over the comms. Elena nodded, even though he couldn't see her. The village was called Nurabad, nestled in the hills, surrounded by dense forest. Official intel said the area was only lightly occupied by insurgents. Unofficially, no one had been in or out for weeks. The target was a local informant, one of theirs. A man who had taken great risks to feed intelligence to the coalition. Now he was compromised, trapped. It was their job to get him out. They flew low, hugging the terrain. Elena checked her gear again, then glanced at Maya, who was staring at the horizon, unreadable as always. "You good?" Elena asked. Maya didn't answer at first, then said, "Yeah, just feels familiar." Elena didn't ask what she meant. She knew. It felt like Kandahar. It felt like Somalia. It felt like all the places where things went wrong. The chopper began to descend. 5 minutes, the pilot called. Everyone tensed. Checked weapons. Checked each other. Elena spoke into the team mic, no surprises. In and out. Eyes up, stay close, and watch the civvies. Maya met her gaze and gave a small nod. The ground rushed up fast. Then, contact. Boots hit dirt. Dust exploded around them. And the world was too quiet. The village was there. Crumbling stone homes, shuttered windows. A few satellite dishes pointing nowhere. But no people. No voices. No dogs barking. Just wind. "Something's off," Elena said. Maya swept her rifle across the rooftops. Too quiet. They moved fast. 2 by 2. Covered every angle. Still nothing. Then the medic, Reggie Lang, pointed toward a collapsed wall near the center of the village. "There," he said. "Someone's moving." Elena raised her hand. The squad paused. A figure stepped out from behind the rubble. Unarmed. Limping. Wearing civilian clothes. That was their guy. Elena exhaled. "Package acquired," she said into her mic. But before anyone could respond, a sharp crack rang out. A single shot. The man dropped. Gunfire erupted from the hills. The air turned into chaos. Bullets slicing through dust. Elena ducked behind a wall. Maya shouted, "It's an ambush." And just like that, the mission was no longer about extraction. It was about survival d'ess. Gunfire ripped through the quiet like tearing cloth. Elena pressed her back against the crumbling wall. Dust filled her lungs. The informant was dead. One clean shot through the chest. Whoever pulled the trigger knew exactly what they were doing. "We're pinned." Maya's voice came sharp over comms. Rounds slammed into nearby walls, kicking up chunks of concrete. The team scattered for cover, returning fire where they could. Snipers in the tree-line. East Ridge, said Vasquez, their spotter. Elena risked a peek. 3 muzzle flashes in the brush. At least. Reggie, she shouted. Where's your smoke? Already tossed it, he yelled back. White smoke hissed to life near the informant's body. A wall of haze gave them a sliver of cover. Fall back, South Alley. Elena ordered. Now. One by one, they moved. Quick sprints between broken buildings. Every step a risk. Elena stayed back, covering Maya's retreat. Then it happened. A sharp, sickening thud behind her. Reggie was down. He hadn't screamed, just crumpled. Elena was on him in seconds. Blood soaked his side. His face was pale, lips tight with pain. Hit low rib, he gasped. In and out. You sure? No exit, he whispered. Guess not out. Damn it, she muttered. Maya doubled back, crouching beside them. We have to move. Birds coming in 20. They won't wait. Elena looked at Reggie. He was already drifting. The call came in on comms. Exfil in 20 minutes. New LZ on Ridgepoint 7. Repeat, Ridgepoint 7. That was nearly a kilometer uphill, through open terrain. Copy that, Elena said, eyes still locked on Reggie. Maya's voice was low. We can't carry him that far. Elena didn't answer. Maya pressed again. We'll never make it in time. And if we stay... He's not dying here, Elena snapped. Not like this. Not on my watch. A beat of silence. Then Maya gave a short nod. All right, let's get to work. They stripped gear to lighten the load. Used straps and jackets to make a field stretcher. Reggie grimaced as they lifted him. The team was already ahead, moving fast. Elena tapped her mic, Torres and Brooks with Lang. We're going manual to LZ. Negative, came the reply. You'll never make it in time. Then you better stall the bird, she said. We're coming. She cut the comms. They moved. Each step was harder than the last. Reggie wasn't a small man. The terrain was uneven. Dirt and stone shifted underfoot. Gunfire echoed behind them. Sporadic now. Maybe the enemy thought they were all gone. They weren't. Elena and Maya pressed forward, muscles burning, breathing ragged. Halfway up the slope, Maya slipped, catching herself with one hand. I'm good, she said quickly. Keep going. Elena adjusted the grip. Almost there. But they weren't. Not even close. Time was running out. They both knew it. Reggie moaned softly. Leave me, can't. No, Elena said firm. You stay with us. Maya didn't look at either of them. Just kept moving. Her hands shook. Shoulders tight. They had done this before. In other countries. With other names. But never like this. Never someone they couldn't afford to lose. At the base of the final hill, Elena paused. Looked up. The ridge felt like a mountain. The wind picked up. She could hear the low hum of rotor blades. Not long now. She tightened her grip on Reggie's harness. We're finishing this, she said. And they began the final climb. The hill felt endless. Every step sucked more strength from their legs. Elena's hands were blistered from gripping the straps. Maya's breath came in short, sharp bursts. Reggie had stopped talking. His eyes barely fluttered. They were losing time. And they knew it. We need a break, Maya muttered, stumbling to a stop. Elena scanned the ridge above. No cover. No shadows. Just rock, dirt, and the endless sound of the chopper somewhere beyond the horizon. If we stop now, we don't start again, Elena said. Maya wiped her face with her sleeve. Sweat and dirt streaked her skin. He's going into shock. Then we move faster. Reggie let out a low groan, a sound between pain and apology. Still with us? Elena asked. He blinked once. Then again. That was enough. They lifted. Kept going. Elena's legs burned. Her shoulder ached from where the strap had dug in too deep. But none of it mattered. Not compared to the last time she hadn't made it in time. Her mind flashed back to Marawi. She and Maya had dragged another wounded man through a flooded street. They'd made it 2 blocks before the building collapsed behind them. They'd never found his body. She never wanted to feel that again. A voice cracked over the radio. Eagle 1 to ground team. We are approaching Ridgepoint 7. 2 minutes out. I say again, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Elena looked up. They still had at least 200 meters left. And it was steep. Push, she said. Now. Maya didn't answer. Just moved. Every muscle in their body screamed. The stretcher scraped against rocks. Reggie's arm dangled limply over the side. Above them, the sound of rotor blades grew louder. Then gunfire, sharp and close. Elena dropped to one knee, shielding Reggie. Maya crouched low, rifle up. Movement in the treeline to their right. 2 figures. Maybe 3. Shadowed by smoke and dust. We've been spotted, Maya said. Can't stop now, Elena replied. More gunfire. They ran. Not tactically. Not carefully. Just forward. Straight through open ground. The edge of the ridge came into view, and with it the helicopter. Doors open. Crew waving them in. But they weren't there yet. Another round cracked past Maya's head. She ducked, lost her grip, nearly fell. Elena caught the stretcher just in time. They lifted again. Final stretch. The helicopter's side gunners opened fire, laying down suppression over the tree line. The enemy dropped back. For now. Elena and Maya staggered up the last incline. The wind from the rotors hit them like a wall. The crew rushed forward, grabbed the stretcher. Pulled Reggie inside. Then Elena. Then Maya. The doors slammed shut. For a second, everything went silent. Then came the sound of lift, heavy, powerful, as the bird rose into the sky. Elena collapsed against the wall of the cabin. She could feel her heartbeat in her ears. Maya leaned over Reggie, checked his pulse. Still there. Weak. But there. Neither of them spoke for a long time. Then Maya said, "He's not out of the woods." "No," Elena replied. "But he's not in the ground either." They sat in silence, listening to the rotors, watching the hills disappear beneath them. They had made it, barely, and it wasn't over yet. The flight back felt longer than the mission. Reggie lay still on the floor of the chopper, oxygen mask over his face, gauze pressed to his side. The medic from the bird worked fast, but there was only so much he could do at altitude. Elena didn't move. Her eyes never left Reggie's chest, watching it rise and fall in slow, uneven rhythm. Maya sat across from her, covered in dirt, sweat, and someone else's blood. Neither of them spoke for a long time. Finally, Maya said, "I thought we were going to lose him." Elena didn't answer, because she had thought the same. She was still thinking it. Maya leaned forward. "You should have gone ahead. Left me with him. You could have made it easier." "No," Elena said quietly. "That's not how we do this." Maya looked out the side window. The terrain rolled by below. Endless forest. Mountains in the distance. Shadows growing longer. "Back in Kandahar," Maya said. "Remember Corporal Nash?" Elena nodded once. "We left him. Didn't have a choice." "I remember. I still see his face." "Me too." The hum of the rotors filled the silence again. Maya clenched her fists. "It's always the same story. Mission comes first. Wounded slow you down. Command says move or die." Elena looked up. Her voice was calm, steady. And they're not wrong. One body can drag down the whole team. But we still carried him, Maya said. Why? Elena's eyes dropped to Reggie again. Because if we didn't, who would we be? The question hung in the air like smoke. The medic on board gave a signal. Reggie was stable for now, but barely. The pilot called out over the headset. Landing in 2. Dust-off team waiting on the tarmac. As the bird dipped, Elena felt her body tense again. Even back at base, she knew the mission wasn't over. They landed hard, wheels hitting concrete. The back doors flew open. Medics rushed in, lifted Reggie onto a stretcher. Maya followed them off. Elena stayed for a second longer. She stared at the empty cabin. Blood on the floor. A glove in the corner. A piece of gauze stuck to the seat. It wasn't over. Not even close. She stepped off. The sun was gone now. Only the last hints of orange on the horizon. Base was buzzing. Radios crackled. Lights flashed across the landing zone. But everything sounded far away. They stood outside the med bay, waiting. Time passed, but neither of them checked a clock. Finally, a doctor came out. Young. Tired eyes. He's in surgery. He's got a chance. That's all I can promise. Elena nodded. That was more than she'd expected. When the doctor left, Maya exhaled for what felt like the first time in hours. We did it, she said. Elena didn't smile. We got him here. That's all. They stood in silence again, not needing to speak. Behind them, the chopper blade still spun in the distance, winding down slowly. And in Elena's mind, a quiet truth whispered louder than everything else. This wasn't just one mission. This was a line they had crossed. The kind you don't come back from. Elena and Maya sat side by side on the cold concrete outside the med bay. The night had fallen completely, wrapping the base in a blanket of silence, broken only by distant engines and murmurs of soldiers moving about. Neither woman spoke. Words felt useless now. After hours of waiting, the weight of the mission settled deep into Elena's bones. She stared at her boots, imagining every step back up that hill, the weight of Reggie, the gunfire, the endless climb. Maya broke the silence. You ever think about why we keep doing this? Elena looked up, catching the tired look in Maya's eyes. You mean risking everything for someone you barely know? Maya nodded slowly. Yeah, or for someone who might never say thank you. Elena smiled faintly. It's not about thanks. It's about loyalty. About who you become when you carry someone out instead of leaving them behind. Maya's eyes glistened. Sometimes I wonder if that's what's kept us alive all these years. Elena reached out, briefly squeezing Maya's hand. Maybe. The memory of the mission played in her mind, every gunshot, every labored breath, every moment she told herself they could still make it. But the truth was, no one had known if they would. She thought of the informant lying silent in the dust, of Reggie fighting for every breath, of the helicopter's roar, a fragile thread between life and death. And she thought of her team. How many times had she watched friends fall? How many promises had she whispered to the wounded, to the dying? The war was a brutal teacher. It didn't care about dreams or plans, only about survival. But tonight, something had changed. Reggie was alive. That fact alone felt like a victory. The distant clatter of boots brought Elena back. The doctor returned, exhaustion clear in his face. He's stable, the doctor said. But it's going to be a long road. Elena nodded. Thank you. He turned to Maya. You did good out there. Your team kept him alive. Maya's jaw tightened. We did what we had to. The doctor gave a small smile. That's exactly what we want to hear. As he walked away, Elena and Maya remained seated. A quiet understanding passed between them. Their mission wasn't just a job anymore. It was a promise. A promise they had made to never leave anyone behind. Not on the battlefield. Not anywhere. Elena's eyes drifted upward, toward the stars blinking through the night sky. She thought about the battles ahead, the missions waiting in the shadows. And she knew this was only the beginning. But for now, she allowed herself one moment of peace. One moment to remember why she fought. Because, in the end, that was what made them soldiers. Not the weapons they carried. Not the medals they earned. But the people they refused to leave behind. The dawn was pale and quiet when Elena and Maya reported for duty. The base was still waking up, the hum of generators and distant conversations filling the air. Neither spoke much, their minds heavy with the aftermath of the mission. They were called into the commander's office. The door shut behind them with a soft click. The commander's face was grave. Your actions out there saved a life. That kind of loyalty is what this unit is built on. Elena nodded, but her thoughts were elsewhere. The mission had been a success, but the cost had been real. Maya glanced at Elena. What now? The commander sighed. We've got intel of increased enemy activity in a neighboring sector. You're leading the next extraction. Elena swallowed. When? Tomorrow morning. Maya rubbed her temples. No rest for the weary. The commander gave a slight smile. This is the life you chose. They left the room, tension in the air. Outside, the world felt different, heavier, more fragile. Back at their quarters, Elena unpacked her gear. Her fingers trembled slightly as she folded a worn photo of her and Maya. She thought about Reggie, his battle to live. About the friends they had lost and the ones still waiting. Her phone buzzed. A message from Maya. Ready for round 2? Elena smiled, typing back, always. They knew the next mission would test them even more. But they also knew this. No matter what happened, they would face it together. Because that was their bond. 2 friends. One last mission. And a promise to never leave anyone behind. The dawn was pale and quiet when Elena and Maya reported for duty. The base was still waking up, the hum of generators and distant conversations filling the air. Neither spoke much, their minds heavy with the aftermath of the mission. They were called into the commander's office. The door shut behind them with a soft click. The commander's face was grave. Your actions out there saved a life. That kind of loyalty is what this unit is built on. Elena nodded, but her thoughts were elsewhere. The mission had been a success, but the cost had been real. Maya glanced at Elena. What now? The commander sighed. We've got intel of increased enemy activity in a neighboring sector. You're leading the next extraction. Elena swallowed. When? Tomorrow morning. Maya rubbed her temples. No rest for the weary. The commander gave a slight smile. This is the life you chose. They left the room, tension in the air. Outside, the world felt different, heavier, more fragile. Back at their quarters, Elena unpacked her gear. Her fingers trembled slightly as she folded a worn photo of her and Maya. She thought about Reggie, his battle to live. About the friends they had lost and the ones still waiting. Her phone buzzed. A message from Maya. Ready for round 2? Elena smiled, typing back, always. They knew the next mission would test them even more. But they also knew this. No matter what happened, they would face it together. Because that was their bond. 2 friends. One last mission. And a promise to never leave anyone behind. The morning was cold and unforgiving. The sky was a dull gray, heavy with low clouds that threatened rain. Elena checked her gear one last time. Every strap, every buckle, every piece of equipment had to be perfect. Maya joined her outside their quarters. The silence between them was comfortable. No need for words. They both knew what was coming. The briefing had been quick and direct. The intel was clear. Enemy forces were regrouping, planning something big. Their mission was to extract a high-value target trapped behind enemy lines. Elena's heart tightened. The weight of responsibility was heavier this time. They moved out with their team, boots hitting the dirt trail in steady rhythm. The forest closed around them, shadows thick between the trees. Every snap of a twig, every rustle of leaves set their nerves on edge. The enemy was near. They could feel it. Suddenly, gunfire shattered the quiet. The team hit the ground, returning fire. Elena's voice cut through the chaos, steady and commanding. "Keep moving. We have to reach the target." Maya covered their flank, eyes sharp, rifle raised. They fought their way through the underbrush, adrenaline pushing them forward despite the ache in their muscles. Then, ahead, the target came into view, a young man, wounded but alive, surrounded by enemy fighters. Elena's heart pounded. There was no room for error. "On me," she shouted. The team formed a protective circle, pushing through the enemy's line. Bullets zipped past them, and the air was thick with smoke and dust. Maya reached the target first, helping him to his feet. "Can you walk?" she asked. He nodded weakly. Together, they began the retreat, the forest echoing with gunfire behind them. Elena felt every second stretch thin. One wrong step could mean disaster. Her eyes locked with Maya's for a brief moment. They both knew the truth. This was more than a mission. It was a test of everything they had fought for. The extraction zone was just ahead. The helicopter's blades whipped the air into a frenzy as it touched down. Elena and Maya dragged the target inside, the team covering their backs until the last second. As the doors closed and the bird lifted, Elena looked out at the shrinking battlefield below. She thought of Reggie, of the promise they had made. No matter what came next, they would keep fighting. Because leaving no one behind wasn't just a rule. It was who they were. Two friends. One last mission. And a bond forged in fire that would never break.